here is your second big tip for question number 2 to improve your writing score on the TOEFL writing section. Welcome to TOEFL Talk with NoteFull. This is episode number 5, where you get to ask your questions and get them answered, build your vocabulary, and partner to success to really get your dream TOEFL score. So hello, I'm Joseph from the NoteFull team, and here is your second step to improve your writing, not only for question 2, but for question 1. Write to your word count. Put very simply, what this means is that you want to create a complete essay within a word count that allows you to think carefully, to think well, and to finish every part of the essay on time. That's going to improve your score, improve your confidence and comfort. And if you study this way week after week, it's going to improve your score. So if you remember, we are kind of hearing your answers that you record and creating videos to support you and everyone in the community to success. And so you do that by clicking on the link below this video. So if you see, you'll see one of the links is to submit your recording so that we can listen to it and provide an answer to help you. Because as you know, this series, right, TOEFL Talk with NoteFull, I'm excited that you're here, is dedicated to supporting you and other students like you to get your dream score when it requires you to work for months, weeks and months, sometimes even years, because you need to improve your score by 10, 20, 40 points, or you're having a lot of trouble with one section. So really meant to be with you, support you, and answer your questions when you're struggling to improve, because that's who we work with best at NoteFull, right? Those of you who want the biggest improvement over time or have top minimum requirements. And so in this series, we get to listen to your recordings, and this big tip is part of a 3-tip series, right? If you remember, episode 4 was the first tip, and that was write your essay in units. If you're not familiar with that, you can also go below this video, you can check the links, and you'll see that we link you to that episode. So you might want to watch that first, and then this one, and that's going to be a powerful way to help you to success. So let's reconnect with Mohammed, someone just like you watching the video, who submitted his question, which inspired us to give you, Mohammed, and everybody this tip to improve your score. So let's listen in.
The most part which I struggling with is writing. So when I start writing like the independence essay, I always struggling. I don't know why and how to improve it. This is sometimes make me crazy. And I tried to take like online courses. I did TOEFL many times, but still my score lower than 20. And that's...
Yeah, so this recording, Mohammed, I'm sure a lot of you can connect with Mohammed, right? So writing to your word count, Mohammed, is going to break through and get you a 20 plus, all the way to 30 out of 30 if you master it. And so let's listen to one more student whose question is also about the writing, and this tip will also help him and others of you who kind of connect with what he shared.
Hi Joseph, thank you for the lecture so far. For the writing section, I have difficulty with time management. I've realized that most times I don't go through my work, like I don't proofread, and I think it's affecting my scores. And also for the writing question too, I need ideas on how to write an organized essay. I sometimes find it difficult to get, maybe reasons with examples, and I get stuck sometimes so too. So can you help me out with this section? I will really appreciate. Thank you.
Of course, peace, and Mohammed and all of you. So remember there are 3 tips that come from these 2 questions, And so this is the second tip that's very important. And so how are you going to organize your essay? How are you going to finish on time? How are you going to have time to review so that you make your next TOEFL your last? Right to your word count. So how are we going to do that? Let's jump into today's lesson. What you see on the screen is an outline of the body paragraph. Again, this is episode 5, which continues from what we learned in episode 4. You have the link below this video to revisit that because we worked on this paragraph in the previous episode. So we know that for your question number 2, which is also your independent essay, where you write an essay that answers a question and is meant to show how you can write academically in 30 minutes to persuade your reader about your opinion. In order to write a great essay, we learn that we need to write and think in units. So that's episode 4. Once you start working with that, it's super important to build your skill with where you are. So we want to be in alignment with our current ability to type, our typing speed. So that's our first vocabulary word. So let's go here to alignment and see that definition. Nice word for us to know. Alignment means arrangement in a straight line or in correct or appropriate relative positions. In other words, if we keep looking at that, the act of aligning parts of a machine, the route or course, well, that one we don't need so much, a position of agreement. So alignment means where things line up. So what happens is you want to think about how fast you type. Do you type at 20 words per minute, 30 words per minute, 40 words per minute? The interesting thing is sometimes we think faster than we type, or we have an expectation to produce more content than we can. And then we are not in alignment, and as you can imagine, like a machine where the gears and the parts that come together, they're not aligned, that machine's not going to work. So the first thing you want to do is you want to write and double check your word count. So below this video, you have a link to a great site that we have in all of our self-study material to train you and everyone to discover your word count and to learn how to increase it so that you can write even better. So it's called TypeRacer. I think it's typeracer.com. Yeah, there we go. And so this is really fun. So when you click on enter a typing race, right, what happens is you have this little bar, green light will come up soon, and essentially what you do is you type what you see on the screen, right? So I can type pretty fast, but I'm just going to type slow for now, right? And you see how as I type, it follows, and if I make a mistake, I have to go back, and then I type more my normal speed, and I want to beat everybody, but I'm making mistakes now. So you get kind of better at it. So I was typing before like at 10, 20 words per minute. Then I finished at 57. When I play this game and I'm at full power, I can do maybe 80 to 90 words a minute, which is a lot. And in our era, it's fantastic to have fast typing speed. So you can really consider this a fantastic way to support your skills after the TOEFL. So you want to discover your word count. And you're going to find that it's 20, 30, 40 words a minute. The next thing is when you think, you want to be at about 67% of your maximum word count. So for example, right here, when I type at full power, just what I read, I'm at usually somewhere I can be 80 to 100 words per minute. It's pretty fast, right? Been doing this for a long time. So 80 words per minute is kind of the standard, my average. So you want to find yours. And about, 60, 70% of that, I would say like 50 to 60 words, right? 40 to 60. So that means on the TOEFL, when I'm thinking critically and creating an essay for the TOEFL, my habit and my skill set, I can write about 60 words a minute, sometimes 80 if I feel really confident. So that's what you need to do. So let's say, for example, you find that you can type 30 words per minute. Then what you want to do is recognize that on the TOEFL you're thinking, you're looking at your brainstorm, your scratch paper. You can only probably type intelligently at 20 words per minute. So that means, so this is, being a TOEFL professional, and this is why I want to work with you, because you see, that's why we want to work with you with TOEFL Talk to really discuss how do we overcome being stuck and why we get stuck. So if the courses you're taking or your own study is not this disciplined of, okay, what can I produce? How do I make what I can produce the best it can be? How do I increase my production? Then it's really tough for us to make those major improvements. Move from a writing score of 15 or 18 to 25 or 28, which I promise you, you can and will do. So what that means now is, if like in our course, right, our self-study material, we call it our diamond course, the self-study material that teaches you everything. We have everything broken down, right? So you know how many minutes you have for every part of the essay. So because this is training, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how to work with us so you get everything. But for right now, we've learned from episode 4 that the body paragraph in question number 2 is kind of the heart of our score, the core of our score. That's what graders are going to pay a lot of attention to assign your rating. And it's challenging to make sure that you produce something that makes them give you a rating higher than you currently have. It takes work. So now what you want to understand is, how many words do you have for the body paragraph? The amazing thing is, if you can type 30 words per minute, which is actually a lot. I think the average student who has trouble with the writing, we've learned, types about 15 to 25 words per minute. So ideally, you need to train to improve your word count to 30 to 40. That way you can think and type at a good speed, you can produce enough content, you can have a balanced essay that earns your dream score. So let's say you type 30 words per minute, right? And 67% of that is 20. So thinking hard, you type about 20 words per minute. The body paragraph, we take about 9 minutes, right? That's our strategy. Brainstorm, intro, body paragraph, conclusion. You write 2 body paragraphs, 9 minutes each. Quick math. What's 9 times 20? 180 words. That's fantastic. You don't need more than that. So 180 words. Let's see this example paragraph, which I'll give you time to review. This example paragraph is 177 words. And this example paragraph on the TOEFL, if written under TOEFL conditions, as part of an essay that's similar, gets a 30 out of 30, right? So the amazing thing is, you only need to type 20 words per minute. If you realize that, you'll be smoother. Because what I want to express to you is, when you know you type 20 words per minute, it gives you a sense, at the speed, like when you train, you realize, wow, I can't look back that much. I can't review my grammar that much. I can't think that much. It's too fast. So a lot of students, so let's say you type 20 words per minute, or maybe you can type 30 words per minute in the game, but when you start typing in real life, and you give yourself, you write an essay, it's really easy to test your word count in real life. You actually just give yourself 9 minutes to write a body paragraph, as you've learned from episode 4, or for those of you in our self-study material, we call our diamond course, online classes, we call our gold course, right? Small group tutoring. Have you done that? Do you realize how many words you can type a minute? So you just try to write a body paragraph in 9 minutes, and whether you finish or not, no big deal. You count how many words, and then you divide that by 9. And that tells you your real life word count. Ideally, in order for many of you who want like a 24 plus, you want to write at about 15 words practically. So if you can't do that, it's interesting because it means, well, I actually need to improve my word count before I have a practical chance of writing enough content that's well thought out to get my dream score. So that's like step one and then step two. So don't worry, we have the material for you. I'll explain at the end of the video how to get help in improving your word count. Once you have that, or as you study that, how do you make sure your content is strong enough to succeed? Well, episode 4 is really important, so make sure you watch that if you haven't already. And the next step is write to your word count, right? So what does that mean? Well, let's look at this paragraph, and before we get into that, I want to show you this because in episode 4, right, I think it was Yulia posted a great comment, and then Michael, I think if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, brought in an excellent point. Grammar mistake, typo. Don't worry, everyone, you're not alone. And it's okay to have a few. You can still get a 30 out of 30. And I love how carefully you're reading and studying everything. So to you, Yulia, to Michael, to everybody, bravo for being so careful and focused. It means a lot, and it makes sure that I do my best, even though I'm still probably going to have mistakes here and there, as hard as I try to avoid them. And that's because clothes with an S is actually plural. So I put here, you wear clothes that supports that behavior. Oops, you wear clothes that support, because clothes is plural. So therefore we need the plural, subject-verb agreement. They support, not they supports. So now I'm going to change that color back to green. And for those of you where this is kind of the first video you're watching, we'll review this so it makes sense to you. Okay. So the average student that I've worked with, I think it's really safe to say that in 9 minutes, they can produce about 80 words. So the average student thinks and writes at about 10 words per minute or a little less that we work with, which is something that you want to boost. I think 120 words in 9 minutes, which mathematically 120 divided by 9. Let's do that here. Yeah, it's about like the 15 words per minute mark. That's the ideal. 20 words per minute. You don't have to be any faster than that to succeed. So you want to be producing 80 to 120 words per minute. Now the next thing is, it's amazing, but you want to gain a sense of how to succeed with that. So we call it kind of like let's just put the vocabulary word sense, right? So it's a good word. I'm sure you have a sense of the meaning. So the first definition, like our 5 senses, a faculty by which the body perceives an external stimulus: sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch. A feeling that something is the case. Actually, these definitions aren't so satisfying. Let's see here. There we go. Perfect. The second definition, this meaning: a keen intuitive awareness of or sensitivity to the presence or importance of something. So we use sense, sometimes we have the expression the sixth sense, like intuition. So let's look at that word keen, because keen is another excellent vocabulary word. Keen is highly developed. So we want to develop a sense of how much time we have to communicate. So it's almost like in the writing, when you only have 2 more minutes to finish your body paragraph, you need a sense of how much you can write, how much you can say. Wow, 2 minutes left. I only have 2 sentences to finish my idea, so that I write a complete body paragraph, because that matters, and that I have an evenly developed essay. So I show my skill, and the grader rewards me with a higher score. So how do you develop this sense, this sensitivity to the presence or importance of something, awareness of, am I on track or not? In my experience, it's by training to write to the word count. So for example, here we have 180 words, right? So if you type and you find that you can only write 80 to 120 words, we must understand and be in alignment with our ability and say that example does not work for me. If I try to do that, I will not succeed. I will think too much, I will write too little, I will get cut off, I'll feel stressed. So I need to write my example answer that does the job of this paragraph in 80 to 100 words. So what I do is I simply think to myself, I have to cut this in half. Okay, so this is 177 words. So let's cut this in half. Now here's what's going to happen. When you cut it in half, your ability to express details decreases dramatically. But here's the incredible thing. One thing that I talk about in my classes, right, for those of you familiar with it, is give your grader diamonds, not coals. So what's a diamond, right? I even use this in small group tutoring today. We see diamonds. They're valuable, right? They are worth a lot. And we see coals, and coals are valuable too, but they're not as valuable as diamonds, right? And for those of you, you know that both are made of carbon. They're the same material, just, in different construction, but it's made from the same thing. So the reason why I say that is because your words are like the carbon that makes up coals or diamonds. You want to remember that. So if you put your words together and force them and don't think, you're creating coals. If you think more carefully, maybe you will not write as much, but your words will be like diamonds. So a lot of coals is worth so little compared to a few diamonds, right? So when you write and complete these 4 steps, even if you only have 90 words, you will improve your score. Number 1, we want to recognize we can't write more than we can write. Number 2, your rating equals your excellence. So if you're writing fast and you're not thinking, and I got to do this and I got to do that, it's very unlikely we'll produce an essay that makes the graders give you a high rating. It's hard to be excellent when you're rushed, stressed, and under pressure. So find your word count that is comfortable to you, and then take this example and rewrite it for yourself by cutting it in half. For those of you in NoteFull, and for those of you who register after this video, we have example essays for over a dozen example essays for question 1 and 2 for you to study, along with hours and hours of training material. And so what you want to do is the same thing. The essay, if we have a 500 word example essay, and you find that in 30 minutes you're capable of producing an essay with 350 words, 400 words, you want to take that essay and just for an hour or 2 study it and do all the major things in 400 words. So let's look at this and break it down. So again, if this coloring or highlighting is unclear, no problem. Go to episode 4. You see the link below the video. So when we look at this, we know that each color represents each step of the body paragraph. So even though we're reducing our word count to match what be in alignment with what we can produce, it still needs to be effective. That's not easy. That's why this is going to be a paragraph that is still a diamond and can help us get a 24, 26, and perhaps even a 28, but definitely a 24 to 26. So the first one, first we choose different clothes for different occasions to tell us how to behave. I can't reduce that any further, right? We know I'm answering an essay. Do I agree or disagree that people behave differently when they wear different clothes? And I'm agreeing. And so I cannot reduce that step. If I reduce that even further, it will start to hurt my score. So the reason needs to be complete. Now, step 2, explain how your reason supports your opinion generally. Okay, so can I reduce this? Here's what I say. When you want to be fun and active, You wear clothes that support that behavior. And when you want to be serious and formal, you wear different clothes. Okay, I can definitely reduce this because you see here, I've established an example, an explanation that depending on how you want to behave according to my opinion, you wear clothes that match. And I'm just giving a second illustration here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce that, right? Because that's just enhancing my explanation. It's not critical. So the next thing is I have the example. I'm definitely going to be able to cut this. And I'm going to have to cut this in half while still making my argument clear. So let's see what extra things, what repetition to enhance, what details, even though important, are not critical to my argument, which is, yes, people behave differently when they wear different clothes. According to me, that's because you choose clothes that tell you how to behave. So here's my example to illustrate this. For example, when I got ready to go to work this morning, I chose to wear formal clothing. It wasn't an accident. Okay, that I can delete, right? That's enhancing my idea. It's contributing to a 30 out of 30, but it's extra and I can't write that much. I need to be in alignment with my word count and be patient and realize, okay, if my word count is too low, I got to train to increase it. And then I can write more. So I wanted to wear a shirt and tie to match the kind of work I was going to do. While working, I would often find that I would be a little more serious than normal because of the way I was dressed. Okay, this really establishes what I want to say, right? Which is, I'm a little more serious than normal because of the way I was dressed when I work. That's an illustration of my clothes is influencing my behavior. So this sentence is nice, effective, helpful, but not critical, right? It's boosting my score, but I don't have the word count to put it. So I got to be more to the point. We continue. A tie doesn't give you a chance to move around very easily, so you are stiffer. Well, I deleted my reference to a tie. So I can't have that there because that doesn't make sense to the reader. So while working, I would often find that I would be a little more serious than normal because of the way I was dressed. And then I can have another example here. For example, or for instance, right? So yes, I can have two, for example, for instance, because this is all an example of my reason, right? And this here, of course, is just an example of clothes that is a little more serious than normal, right? I would often find that I would be a little more serious. So for instance, a tie doesn't give you a chance to move around very easily, so you are stiffer, right? You don't move. And so you realize here that stiffer I'm using to connect with more serious, right? Because when you're stiff, we agree, most of us have the understanding that when I'm stiff, I'm serious, right? So I stood up straighter and talked with more focus because of this. Do you see that that's an enhancement? It's not critical. It's good to have, but I don't have that word count, so I got to cut this out. Now let me check my word count because I think I'm getting pretty close. 131. No, I am not. Okay, so when I saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror, my clothes clearly indicated to me that it's time to work, be serious and focused. That whole sentence needs to disappear. So I get, because you see that that's again an illustration that's elaborating on what I said before. And elaborating is good, but it's not critical when I only have 90 words to express myself. And we know elaborate, the definition to elaborate is as a verb, right? Because as an adjective, we say elaborate. As a verb, we say elaborate, right? And you see the different pronunciation here. vocab, build it, search on Google, build your vocabulary. All these things memorize takes time, but it's going to help you to speak well, precisely, and confidently. So develop or present in detail. So I can't be detailed. I don't have the time for that. So I deleted that whole sentence. Now I check the word count. 107 words. Okay, I want to reduce it to 90. So as you can see, the clothes that you wear do strongly impact your behavior. So I can't really give any nice introduction here at this moment. So clothes, and I might put really do impact your behavior. Let me make that nice and gray. Right? And if I look here, let's see the word count. 99. Okay, so I want to reduce it by 5 more words. Now, do you notice I really don't have the space to explain very much? So I have to be so careful with my steps. So let me reduce it a little bit more. Where can we cut? I'm sure you have some ideas, but I can't hear them. So for example, when I go to work, when I got ready to go to work this morning, I chose to wear formal clothing. Maybe I want to be a little more serious than normal. So I can kind of connect this. Yeah. So I would be a little more serious than normal because of the way I was dressed. So when I got ready to go to work this morning, I chose to wear formal clothing so I would be a little bit more serious than normal because of the way I was dressed. And that's 93 words. That works. So here's something very, very, very important. You might say to yourself, this is too simple. I can't write this to get my dream score. So to you, I say, I agree with you. That's what it feels like. And we have to be careful to avoid being incredulous. So incredulous means unwilling or unable to believe something. So remember, the beauty is that you're here working with us, and we've been doing this for 12 years. We just had a success story interview 2 days ago with a student who got a 28 on the writing, applying what you're learning here, building skill as you learn. So we don't want to be incredulous in the sense that this is not easy. To go through each of these 4 steps in just 95 words, you are giving the grader diamonds rather than coals. It takes full brain power, and you will be rewarded with a higher score. So if you find that you want to write more, and of course there is a limit, because you do want to get a 30 out of 30, our experience when we take the TOEFL, when we work with students, we experiment, we find that practically an essay of about 400 to 450 words is ideal, our experience, for a 30 out of 30. With 300 words, 350 words, we see that students can get a like 24 to 27, depending on the student and the way they write. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But here's the most important thing. Word count is nothing without good content. We have students who've written 600-word essays and get 18s because it's repetitive and disconnected. And so I want you to think this is a gift, because I want you to pause this video right now and really take the time to read this paragraph 2 to 3, 4 times with the steps. Like, study this. Take 5, 10, 15 minutes really to boost your score. And what's going to happen is you're going to be rewarded with, hey, when I learn how to write within my word count, I feel more confident. I get what I have to do. I'm not as stressed because I'm not trying to say more than I can say. I'm able to double check my grammar. My writing is good. I'm in alignment with my skill. Then you work on increasing your typing speed, and now, week by week, you're getting the top score you can earn, and every week you're getting better because as you increase your word count, you're so skillful in developing a very strong body paragraph, like, the whole essay, introduction, body paragraph, conclusion, that you're going to be rewarded with the top score. So the next thing to do, and so let's pause the video now, 5 to 15 minutes to study this, starting now. Okay, we're back, right? So I hope you paused the video. If you need to, go back and pause it to study it with care. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is how do you train this, right? Muhammad, peace, everybody. Remember, if success were easy, you would have succeeded already. If success were easy, no one would struggle with the TOEFL. TOEFL Talk wouldn't exist. So I want you to know it can be challenging and it can really take a lot of precision, and you need to be more professional with the TOEFL than you might think. But this is how we make our next TOEFL our last TOEFL. So the final thing I want to say is here, the next thing to do is to practice rewriting this paragraph over and over so that you really feel and get a sense, a real sense. And remember this word that we like, intuitive sense of how to develop your paragraph, how much you can write, so that when you're running out of time, you know how to finish up and you make your next TOEFL your last. And intuitive means using or based on what one feels to be true, even without conscious reasoning, instinctive. So it's like you feel, 2 minutes left, you have a sense, an intuitive sense of what's important that you have to finish up in 2 sentences, and you can do it. And then the grader scans random sentences in your essay. The computer, uses its algorithm to assess your score, and it's higher as a result. So I hope you found this video helpful. Just want to double check that we answered everything. So again, you can review this video, a lot of great stuff, and all focused on tip number 2, write to your word count. And as you can imagine, this absolutely applies to question number 1. So let's review our words. The first word we talked about, alignment. We want to improve our writing score. We want to think and communicate and write in alignment with our word count. How fast can we type? That way you're skillful and you're able to think and write and check your grammar and think first and type second, so you're writing at your maximum ability. The second vocabulary word was sense. As you practice and train, as you review and review and review, every week you're going to get better, and you're going to develop a natural sense of connection, of how much you can write when you only have 1 minute, 2 minutes left. That still gives you your dream score. And we learned the word keen. We want a keen sense. We want keen skills, highly developed, right? We learned about elaborate. Elaborate as a verb is to express in detail. It's good to elaborate. For example, these videos, I don't give myself a time limit. I don't want to. I really want to take my time to work with you. That's why we called it TOEFL Talk. So it can be gradual, it can be conversational, I can say a couple of different things. So I allow myself to elaborate. If I taught you this topic in 5 minutes, I would probably need a week of preparation, because it's like, wow, what's the most important? How do I write it? How do I say it? And 100%, it wouldn't be as deep, as careful. It can't be, right? So when your word count is limited, we want to understand we can't elaborate as much as we want, which can be nice because it's almost like, well, I can't elaborate even if I wanted to. So at least that lets me be to the point and comfortable. Now, that's going to improve your score, because now your whole essay, even if it's short, is well developed, clear, demonstrating your highest grammar, and as a result, earning your highest score. And that's why we say we don't want to be incredulous with this tip, which means we don't want to just disbelieve it. It works, right? 12 plus years of helping you succeed. It will help you make it easier and raise your score. And so intuitive, we kind of brought in with intuitive sense. So I want to remind you that the more you review this video, the more you work with NoteFull, you train, naturally, intuitively, without having to think too carefully, you're going to do all the things necessary to get your dream score, right? So now it's time to partner, right? So the core of our lesson is complete. Now let's talk about making sure that we stay connected. So again, if you made it to this point, I'm proud of you. It's not easy. So the first thumbs up is from me to you, and I mean it. For you to be that careful, that focused, to be here with me right now, bravo. You're the reason why we make these videos. So I hope you always watch them to the end. And give us a thumbs up if you found the video helpful, if you liked it, encourages us to keep doing the videos for you. And of course, subscribe. So I kind of thought about this because I thought it would be fun. I want you to subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, or maybe share it, kind of post it on Facebook, or your friends that need help. And maybe they'll find it helpful, maybe they won't, but at least you'll give them a chance to kind of learn something that might improve their score. And so what I'm thinking is, when we get our subscriber count, as of this video, it's about 162,000. When we get to 200,000, what we're planning on doing is offering a free tutoring session with one of you, right? So you can submit, we choose one of you randomly, and we'll work with you on one section that you feel you need the most help with. Probably we'll start with the speaking because that's so universal. You know, everybody wants that with the speaking. And we'll work through the 4 questions in 1 hour. And that video will be recorded to share on YouTube. So it'll be free for you. And then that way, you know, the YouTube community gets it. So it's kind of positive and helps us get there. So subscribe if you haven't already. That way we work in partnership, grow our subscribers, and do something fun to help you. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. So for those of you who realize, okay, I have a dream score to get. I've been struggling for a little bit. I've taken the exam several times. I'm ready to work hard to boost my score as fast as possible. How do you start to work with us? You know, what does it take? So we work together and week by week boost your score with dozens of hours of lessons just like this that train you on every section and every part of the TOEFL. So it only takes 30 minutes to learn, but it does take some time because I want you to learn how we operate to make sure you know you're an ideal student and we can help you and you know how to work with us ideally. So as I like to say, you know, we close our eyes, we take a deep breath. And since you finished this video, now simply go to the link below and click on how to work with us, and you'll be taken to our Getting Started page. And there we describe all the different kinds of students we help, what makes us special, how we can help you. We have a great success story to share, a recording of an interview with someone who passed, earned amazing scores to inspire you, and for you to learn how to do it too. And as you go below that, we explain all the different courses we offer, our self-study material, our online classes, our small group tutoring, our English strengthening, you know, to build your grammar and other things, your vocab. And as you read that page, it'll just take 5 to 10 minutes. You'll see what course is best for you to start with. And then join, and we'll be working together right away. So it was a pleasure. Excited to be with you and working hard to your dream score. And I always want to end with, stay strong. You can do it. I promise you. The benefit of being in this for as long as we have been is to know that what you're learning works. You keep working on it and you will succeed. It's coming. So have a wonderful day. Like, subscribe, click to get started, or for those of you already working with us, go to your homework, right? Go to your Diamond course to study, go to your recordings from your online classes to review, and let's keep working to get your dream score. Until next time, Bye bye, everybody.